Hi everyone, and welcome to my October video for 2024. And the title of today's message is It's Time to Step Up. It's Time to Rise. And so I'm going to be talking about stepping into our power, claiming the power that we have, and it's suitable for the season that we're in, being Scorpio, being the Plutonic season of the year, which is about power, which is about deep transformation, which is about the depths of the waters of our emotions. So it's a very powerful time of the year and a very powerful wider cycle of time that we're in this season of change, this greater season of this transformation that we're experiencing on this planet, and that we're each going through in our own way. So I'm excited to dive into that today. And before I do, I just want to make one quick announcement that I am now offering my Psychology of Awakening 2.0 course. I've recorded 2 of the teaching module videos that are already in the course. If you sign up in this fall, you can still get the rate that the course has been, and through the end of the year, it will remain at the price point that it's at. But you will be getting all the new content in the spring. I'll be launching the course at a much higher price point, and we'll be doing it with a live classes along with it. But it's an opportunity to get in if you're interested, and I will be uploading all the new content over the next about 6 weeks. But you can go ahead and plug in now and get the new content, and also join some of our live classes coming up in November and December. That will be opportunities to connect with a small community and ask questions and have support as you're going through the content. So if you're interested, would love to have anyone who's aligned to join us this fall. Okay, so it's time to step up. It's time to rise. So what I want to talk about here is, the invitation and inspiration, hopefully, that I feel like I received just recently in my own process around, we're in this election season coming up in very short order. We're right in the middle of the rising wave towards the U.S. election. Most of the people that listen to me here are in the U.S., although it's all connected. It's all global. There's a lot of other elections also on the table in many countries at this time. The point being, we're just collectively, we're at a very potent moment of this transformation process. And the question for all of us, right, is, number one, how do we make sense of what's actually going on? And, do we vote or not? And who do we vote for? And how do we really, have a coherent understanding of what's actually going on, and who's telling the truth and who isn't, and who's who in this carnival of a show that we're all witnessing through the whatever sources we get our information through. So number one, right, and number two is, well, what do we do about it? How do we use the power that we have as individuals to participate, to take part in this dance of life that we are a part of, in the most effective way, right? And so the two things are connected, right? So our perception of what's going on is going to inform what we believe and how we organize ourselves to how we align our action and our energy and our thoughts in the process to be the most effective that we can be, right? And so I'm going to look at those two things here, right? Okay, so to the question of what is going on that's going to inform us to what can we do about it, how can we participate in the highest level, this involves, different layers of our experience. So on the one hand, we have what would be called the 3D layer, right? The what's going on in this third dimensional bandwidth of experience, this space-time continuum that we perceive and experience, and our understanding, like I said, of what we understand, what we see, what we make sense of coherently for ourselves about what's the situation, like what's our discernment about our perception of the truth. Okay, just in a nutshell, the truth. That is a part of this whole experience, and it's a valid part, and it's also not the only part, right? So the bigger part, and I've just heard Matt Kahn, I just heard recently talk about it this way in one of his updates that I really liked, where he talked about, there's a truth at this level, and then we pan out, and there's another truth at this level, and we pan out. Panning out meaning looking at it from like higher dimensional perspectives, right? So I think the dimensional or frequency level part of the conversation here is really helpful. That we are multidimensional beings, that we are having a multidimensional experience if we're in an awakening process here, a conscious process of awakening and expanding our sense of who we are and what reality is. We have a multidimensional perspective, that there are many dimensions of this reality that are all taking place simultaneously. And that as we develop ourselves here and evolve, we become more able to root ourselves into different dimensions and see the reality of what's going on the third dimension from a higher perspective, right? Okay, so the basic thing here is that when we look at what's going on, the question of what's going on from a higher dimensional perspective, we see that this is much bigger than who we may vote for, or what our orientation is around the political landscape. This is just one conversation that's taking place in a crowded room of conversations, okay? That there is so much that we don't know of what is going on behind the scenes, what is informing the things that we're seeing on the world stage and the scene. The scene that we have access to through our 3D senses, okay? That conversation that's being revealed to us through our 3D senses, okay, through the media and through our direct experience and our conversations with people, etc., is just one scene in a complicated storyline that's multidimensional and is so much bigger than what we are able to perceive. Okay? So that's where I want to invite us into, as many of us are, if you're listening to this, that this is where we want to be right now. We're participating in the 3D and our actions and, our choice around who we vote for or whether we vote is a part of that, yes. But that if we're just in that bandwidth of ourselves right now, there's a lot of density, there's a lot of confusion, and there's a sense of powerlessness, right? Yes, like who knows even if the vote will matter, right? I mean, truly, it's very questionable to many of us at this point. But then, do we choose to anyway? Whatever the aligned action is, that is a part of this. But that has to be informed, even whatever actions we're taking within the 3D has to be informed by a bigger perspective that's really where we're putting our attention and energy and focus, okay? So the bigger picture of what's going on really has to be a part of our overall discernment of the question of what's going on, of what are we experiencing here? What is going on in this process? In a bigger sense than just this little microcosm of this election point in the space-time continuum. Now, I think it is significant. I think it is a significant time. I think it's a culmination point of sorts, all the things that are coming into it. It's a creative process, right? And we are participants in the creation of it, beyond our vote or not vote, okay? That's really the message here today. We are participating with our energy, and we have the power to influence the overall outcome. Okay, what happens with the election is just, let's just put that aside for a minute, right? What we really care about, what we are wanting to create by who we may vote or not vote for, is all it's about that we're giving power, that it matters, we believe that it matters who the president of the US is, and it does. So again, it's all it is in this 3D, section, but yet the true power that we have is much greater than that. And in fact, when we collapse our reality down and put our attention so much, and I'm speaking to myself here as well, very much, right? So to the degree to which we keep our attention, and right now everything is focusing in terms of the collective conversation and the news and the media and everything, the public conversation is keeping us all in this small microcosm of a band of a space in this whole process of this transformation. Okay, as long as we're keeping our attention collapsed into that small conversation where there's a whole lot going on in that conversation, we are missing out on a bigger opportunity that we have to actually make much more of a difference in the outcome of this election point. Yes, but as just a greater process of moving things forward towards the world that we want to create. A world of peace, a world of equality, a world that is dharmic, right? That is harmonious, that is honoring all beings and treating all beings with sovereignty, with respect, and healing the earth, healing ourselves, right? This is the world we want, is a world based in love and abundance, and there's enough for everyone, and we can make this work together. We are all one, we are all the same one consciousness. We are all powerful, beautiful beings. Okay, this is the world that we are voting for in the election, whatever we think, is going to be the best aligned option, for true freedom and equality and honoring the sanctity of life. But really, that little vote space and the election space is just it's a microcosm of a macrocosmic process. And that's where we have our power, okay? So I want to invite us to let go for the moment of putting so much of our attention over these next, days and weeks ahead here in this time that we're in, this season that we're in. And what if we all align with the true power that we have, which is actually much greater than we have been conditioned to believe, okay? So this is the paradigm shift that we're in. And this is what my whole work is about, right? New paradigm psychology so it's time to up level, to rise up into the new paradigm here and claim the power that we are. And that where we put our attention is what we are creating. The power that we have to change the outcome of what manifests in the physical world is way bigger and stronger than we realize. And so this requires a leap of faith of sorts within ourselves, right? It requires a leap of faith of, even though, I know it's the theory all, makes sense, and I know it's true. Okay, I know it's true. But do I believe it's true? Okay, to believe is to make real. That's what the etymology is. Okay, do I believe? Do I believe it enough to choose to align with it consciously and take aligned action in my thoughts, in my behaviors, in what I'm doing in terms of working with my mind and my energy? Do I believe it enough? Am I willing to take that leap of faith to, even though part of me, is really distracted and like it's really, interesting to put my attention on the election. And again, I'm not saying to not pay attention to it, pay attention, but just pay less. Okay, it's enough. I think we all kind of know where we stand at this point. I'm sure there could be more revelations or surprises and events that are going to play out around this. But we all kind of know where we stand at this point enough, I think, that we don't have to continue to pay so much attention to it. And so the invitation here is, okay, like I'm kind of clear where I'm at in the 3D bandwidth, but what I really want to vote for with my energy is using the power that I am, okay, the power that my consciousness is, that the love in my heart is as a energy of creative power. Okay, the love in our heart is an energy that is a creative power, and we've seen this. I think the most tangible recent example is with the Milton hurricane, that people came together and did this practice, however each of us do it, in groups, individually, and were able to affect the hurricane, the power of the hurricane, which was, whooping up to be like a level 5, or some people were saying even level 6, And when it came down, and it was way less, it was okay. I mean, it created damage, but it went from being a 5 down to, I think, a 1 or a 2, right? And the pathway was diverted in a different direction. There's been experiments, Lynn McTaggart, the intention experiment. I mean, there are so many experiments and really scientific studies that have been done that prove this very concretely. Starting in the 80s, that we've seen in the quantum field research, that with the zeros and ones, these exercises where the witness, the person witnessing and choosing an outcome affected the way that the quantum wave comes into form a particle. Okay? So this is very real, and it's very validated in many different ways. We can talk about it in our personal lives, and in these collective experiments. Okay, praying for peace for a certain situation and seeing the results. It's very concrete. So we know that this is true, right? We understand. But are we living this truth? Are we stepping into it? Okay? what if we believed, like, just to the degree that we might put attention on the voting for the presidency, what if we put that much attention on voting for using our creative power to send love, to heal, to visualize and align with being a creator in our lives? Okay, so this doesn't have to be visualizing the world and, some kind of collective visualization. Okay, this can be in your own life. This can be very simple of you, each of us, simply putting our attention on what we can create. Okay, and that can be just as simple as with your own thoughts and how you're relating to yourself. Okay? So again, I know this is hard to sort of comprehend with our conditioned, limited thinking mind, but the truth is that even like you bringing love towards yourself, you being, planting seeds, anything that you do that's creative from you is activating your creative power. Okay, it's moving forward from your own creative power in your day. It's being conscious of rising above your own conditioned thoughts and beliefs and behaviors and doing something good, doing something that's from your own energy asserting itself in thinking differently, perhaps, okay? Up-leveling, rising up into your true power as a human being, which comes from your own expression of this infinite potential field of consciousness that we are, okay? So it's committing to whatever that looks like in your life, is just not getting stuck in the conditioned loops of thinking, feeling, and behaving and reacting, okay, to this 3D world that's playing out, but just consciously, even if it's just like 5 minutes a day, it has to do with how you're living your day-to-day, but also just perhaps doing like 5 minutes a day where you just drop into your heart. And you can just imagine your heart just sending out love to all creation, sending love to the U.S. election as a field of consciousness, okay? And just sending love, just the pure love in your heart that wants good for all, that's so pained by seeing the levels of manipulation and deceit and horrible things that we are aware are happening in the world. Absolute horror, right? That it pains our hearts. So the love in our hearts that wants healing, that wants peace, just allow that love to just directing it, just shining it out and sending it to the places that are hurt, the places that are acting out in darkness. However that is for you, you can imagine, whatever your creative process is, but it can be as simple as just sending out love even to the candidates that you don't like. Okay, so this is really about getting beyond the duality, getting out of this polarization, okay? Although there is a polarization that's real in this race, in this situation. In the situation at large, there's a polarization between dark and light, okay? That is the nature of the 3D reality, is that there is dark and light. That is never going to be resolved through the battle, okay? So, of course, we're going to align and vote with our energy into whatever we believe is the light, But still, that's not all we want to do. We want to also be rising above and actually creating the world of unity that's beyond the 3D. That's the, what's called the 5D and beyond, unity consciousness. We're not going to get to unity through this battle of dark and light here. Yet, it's a paradox because, like in the Bhagavad Gita, for those of you that know that, the whole Bhagavad Gita is the teaching from the Lord of creation, from divine source to a human. How do I deal with this battle between light and dark? Do I fight, or am I a pacifist? Do I let the dark that's on the other side, that's anti-life and is acting out all the anti-life programs? And the message is, no, you fight. You fight for the light, okay? So it's a paradox. It's a paradox that I'm speaking to here. This is what multi-dimensional consciousness is living in the paradox of, okay, yes, I participate in the 3D. I may vote. I vote with my energy every day in the 3D to be in alignment with the light. And I realize that's not all that I am. And I have a much bigger influence when I rise above the battle and I actually activate my power as a creator to come from love and my energy, my pure love light frequency, God source creator energy has the power to influence, my experience and the outcome of all of this. And whether or not that influence, actually is about transforming the 3D realm and creating healing and lifting it up, or whether it's even about each of us individually just lifting up and rising up to a higher level of consciousness, either way, it's the same outcome. It's the same outcome that we will experience a different world manifesting in our experience. And I don't understand all of it, but it seems like what this process is for many of us is it is about our individual process of this awakening and this self-realization. And it seems to be about also helping to transform this very realm of this planet and helping as many of our brothers and sisters, humans, join in this process that's available, that's happening, that's, whether or not the worlds that will just be living in different levels of consciousness, all on one physical earth, who knows, okay? But the point is just to invite and inspire each of us here to, at this time, that we have an opportunity to influence the outcome of the election and of just the whole process of what's happening on the planet towards peace, towards light, towards love, towards harmony. We have that power, and the way that we will actually have the strongest vote for that world manifesting is not by focusing on the microcosm of the election and all the drama around it. That's actually sucking our energy and draining our power away from the true power that we are. When we're free, we're like, okay, yeah, that's going on. And it's going to have whatever it happens with it is going to have a big impact, influence on what's happening in this country and the world at large, this whole process. But it doesn't have the ultimate power by any means. And this process of awakening and healing and moving from a dense, dark place of limitation and lack to a place of love and peace and abundance and co-creation with humanity. Okay, that process is it's happening. It's going to happen regardless of what happens with this election. Okay, that's where the real story is here. And so the invitation for myself and all of us here is to just challenge ourselves now, discipline, to realize our true power is the love frequency in our own heart, and that we can offer that as our vote for creating reality as we go forward. And truly, I believe that this will have a very powerful effect. If you think about the hurricane, right? What if we just send love to this election point in time space? What if we just send love to that creation? It's not the outcome is not determined. There are agendas and there will be things that play out, but we are participants in this creation. Okay, so where we put our energy right now really does have an influence on how this is going to play out, and it's a powerful opportunity, I believe. So I'm going to leave it here for now, and I hope that this is helpful. And I feel inspired to share this message and just feel the upliftment that comes from my own shifting into the higher perspective at this time. And I hope it helps all of you as well. And I am having my Planetary Upshift Meditation event on next Friday, November 1st, just before the election. So invite all of you, please join us. It's free for live stream tickets, and we have seats available for in-person here in Sedona. And it's exactly what this event is every month. But this will be a powerful time to get as many people together online, get us into online, meaning online through the heart, with a heart activated field, and do our part in rooting in and offering this love frequency to the collective and to ourselves and each other, right? It really supports a positive feedback loop when we have other people who are co-creating together and also just rooting into this reality grid, right? It's a new reality grid. It's the more we root ourselves into this higher perspective, the stronger that kind of grid in the quantum field is. And then the easier it is for us to access it and validate it and be there together. All right, so I wish you all very well, and I will see you in the next one. And I'll put the link for the Planetary Upshift Meditation on November 1st in the description of this video. All right, bye for now.